Hey there folks, Anirudh here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all good and taking care of yourselves. So guys, in today's explainer video, we're going to be delving deep into one of the topics which is very close to my heart, which is the mistakes and misjudgments that rookies make whenever they're evaluating a business model or starting a new business. Now, I understand and I accept that starting a new business can be quite exhilarating and you get a huge amount of dopamine rush just thinking about the things that could end up going right. But most people forget to think about the things that could end up going wrong as well. And most of the cases or most of the times, what ends up happening is they end up stumbling across the way. Now, I've also been there and I've made my fair share of errors and mistakes while I was new to my business. But it has taught me a lot, and today we're gonna be diving into the 5 most common mistakes that if you're just starting out, you should definitely try to avoid and should stop yourself from falling in these pitfalls, as these could actually end up wiping your entire business. Now, if you stay till the end, I'll give you a bonus tip that I myself have understood over time doing my business for the last 5 to 6 years, which will be very helpful for you and which will give you an edge over your competitors. So stick till the end. Now, without further ado, let's jump right in. Mistake number 1, ignoring market research. Now, the first and the most common mistake that beginners or rookies make whenever they're starting a new business is underestimating the power of a thorough market research. They just boil down market research to understanding the demand and supply scenario in that particular field and think that if there is a demand for the product, then they can end up getting into the market and try to fulfill it and get some sales and make some money, when it's not the case at all. The thing is that what they're thinking is market demand is actually just the surface level of market demand. There are 2 levels below that, and they could vary from business to business. The second level after demand and supply is understanding the competition in your particular field. Understanding if there is a huge amount of competition, if there is a low amount of competition, and what kind of competition it is very crucial whenever you're getting into a business model. The third level is understanding entry barriers for that particular business model. Now, this definitely varies from business to business, and you could actually analyze it on a deeper level for any business. But in this video, I'm going to keep it short. If you want to understand what the 3 levels of market research actually is, then you should go check out my video, Deep Dive into Market Analysis, in which I've broken down the 3 levels of market analysis, and you would get a better idea of what I'm talking about here. So definitely go check it out if you want to get a better understanding of what market research is. So that is the first and the most common mistake that rookies make, and you should definitely avoid it and not underestimate the power of a good market research before getting into that particular field. And you should do your due diligence before jumping into a business and understanding the complete market dynamics, and then make an informed decision and move forward with your plans. Now on to mistake number 2, which is overlooking financial planning. Now, this is a classical pitfall which a lot of budding entrepreneurs fall into and end up destroying their entire business. Now, you might have heard a lot of millionaires and billionaires talking about that it is not so much about making the money in business, it's more so much about retaining that money and growing it over time. And the difficult part is actually the retention and growing, not the making so much. And it is absolutely the case, as I have witnessed in my own business journey, and you would have also noticed if you've been doing business for any amount of time and have been growing it over time. I am guilty of this mistake as well, as in my early days when we had a small team size, we didn't give a lot of thought to financial planning and didn't plan our budgets that well. So what ended up happening when our team size grew is that our habits didn't change, which we had inculcated in our earlier years when we had just started. And what ended up happening is during a period of our journey, we were in so much financial stress and had to work with limited resources and were under constant stress, and it was very difficult to get through that phase. So I myself am guilty of this mistake. That's why I'm telling you that you should definitely try to avoid it, as a lot of businesses get wiped out completely if they don't have a proper financial planning done for their business for at least the next 1 year, or even better, the best case would be for the next 3 to 5 years. Depending on the current market conditions and the current business conditions. Now, with that said, let's move on to the third mistake, which is neglecting scalability for your particular business model. Now, I've seen a lot of the times that scalability is just an afterthought for people who are getting into a new business or starting a new business, and they think that they should just get into a business because they like it, as it's their passion, or they have some emotional connection with that particular business model. But trust me, understanding the dynamics of scalability to at least some extent is very important whenever you're getting into a business. Because let's say you open a juice shop or a laminate stand because you are a very business savvy person and want to start somewhere. Now, it would be very foolish of you to think that you could scale that juice stand or laminate stand to $1 million a year revenue. It is very difficult, and it is only possible under very few fixed conditions that your juice stand or your juice shop ends up being scalable to $1 million revenue per year. It is because there are certain constraints on that particular business model, because it depends on the density of people living in your area, and even more so the density of people from those people who are actually interested in drinking your juice and who are your retained customers. So there are a multitude of factors, and there is a top cap for this business, and it is definitely not $1 million. Now, there are obviously other ways in which you can scale that business, but those take time. For example, you have to open multiple shops such as yours and make a proper franchisee model, and then you could scale it to more than $1 million a year. But without those extended efforts, you can't scale your single juice stand or lemonade stand to $1 million a year. So understanding the basic dynamics of what scalability are and making an informed decision when you're getting into your first business model is very crucial, as it could either limit your growth in the future or actually give you lots and lots of opportunities for growing if you're in a lucrative field. So understanding scalability is very important, and you should definitely give it a thought whenever you're getting into a new business model. Now on to mistake number 4, fearing failure too much. Now you have to understand that failure is not the end of the world. It's just a stepping stone for you to grow. As a lot of famous people have said, that failure is just a part of your growth, and if you're not failed in your life, then don't think that you can succeed in life. So failure is just a part of it, and you should not at all think about what people are going to say, because they're going to end up saying whatever they want and you can't do anything about it. So if you're thinking what would happen if you tried that new strategy, then don't think too much about it, just implement it and see the results. Embrace fear, learn from it and grow from it. And that is how you will make your business a huge success. Now let's move on to the 5th and the last mistake that beginners make when they're starting a new business. And this one is a very important one because it shapes your entire business, which is overlooking customer feedback. Now, a lot of the beginners who are just getting into a business, they think that if they want to sell something and if they are sure of their idea, then there would be a customer base who would end up buying it. But it's not the case at all. You have to be very perceptive of what your customers think of your product or service and be genuine towards improvements that they are suggesting you. Because at the end of the day, those customers are the same people who are paying to buy a product or service. So you should be very sensitive to what they are saying about your product and service. And not just sensitive, you should actually reach out by yourself as the founder of a small business to customers who have actually bought your product or service and try to get a better idea of when you can improve on your product. Now I understand that a lot of the times the information or the response that they give won't be as informative, but just once or twice every 100 customer feedback calls, you'll get such important insights about your product or service that they would actually end up working or growing your business the next 4 to 5 years. So understanding and working on customer feedback is very important for you to grow your business, and you should definitely not overlook that. So since you've made it to the end of the video, here's the golden insight that I promised you, which I have implemented in my business time and time again, and I always suggest people who are starting a new business around me to focus on, which is that your focus at the beginning of your business should just be to get the revenue going. After you have ascertained the business model that you want to get into and evaluated that business model based on the 6 parameters, which I have told you in one of my previous videos, which you can go check it out. The link will be down in the description below. Your next singular focus should only be to focus on the revenue and get your revenue cycle going. Once that happens, when you get a solid revenue going or a consistent revenue going monthly, then a lot of possibilities will open to you, and that will guide your business naturally. And you won't have to think a lot about it, because once you get the rotation going, you have a lot of cash in hand, and a lot of opportunities will only present to you once you have that. So once you ascertain the business model that you want to get into, your sole and singular focus should be to get the revenue going and growing it as much as possible in the shortest time possible. Alright, so with that said, I want to conclude this video. I hope you guys got some value. I hope you understood something. I hope you got something new and understood. So with that said, I want to conclude this video. So with that said, I want to conclude this video. I hope you guys learned something new in this video, and if you did, then definitely make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts down in the comment section. I'll be sure to read them and reply to them. So until next time, avoid these pitfalls, keep grinding and keep growing your business. I'll see you in the next one.